On career day in my senior year, all the services come to your high school. And I'll never forget that day. The Air Force recruiter got up and gave his pitch, and there were catcalls and hoots and hollers in the Army and the Navy, the same things. And then the Marine gunny, the recruiter, got up and said, "There's no one in this room that I want in my Marine Corps. Undisciplined, unmotivated." Then he began to chew out the faculty in the back of the room, telling them, "How can you let this happen?" and all. And he walked off the stage. Well, needless to say, I was one of the guys that lined up at his desk, and I joined the Marine Corps at that time. I joined the platoon leaders class. And then I, of course, went in an officer program when I got into college. So but he epitomized what I thought of military was all about, and stood up and took charge and made a big impression on this young 18-year-old.
Connecticut native Harvey Barnum joined the Marine Corps platoon leaders class after high school. Upon completion of college, he was commissioned as Marine Reserve Second Lieutenant. After serving various tours abroad and being promoted to First Lieutenant, Barnum was sent to Vietnam in 1965. On the morning of December 18th, Barnum's company was coming down out of the mountains in Quang Tin Province, just south of Da Nang, as the rear element of a battalion-sized movement.
And as we were coming down through this mountain, I heard some shooting up forward, but didn't think much of it. And just as our company commander was walking across a dike, the North Vietnamese, they triggered an ambush. And they were smart, they were well trained, they were well dug in. They let 3 companies go by and in through this village before they triggered the ambush. And when they triggered the ambush on our rear element, they triggered the ambush on the units in the village also. They had done their homework. The initial rounds, they hit the company commander and his radio operator. And needless to say, the first time I've been shot at. And I was very prudent. I hit the deck. But when I looked up, and I looked up from underneath my helmet and looked around, I could see all these young Marines' eyes looking at me, and they're saying, "Okay, Lieutenant, what the hell are we gonna do?" So at that point, I started giving direction. And the first thing I did is get on the net and call artillery. So anyways, I see my scout sergeant run by me to go out to protect the company commander, and he got shot a couple times as he was going out there. And he set up a base of fire. There was a trench line to our right that we were taking intensive direct machine gun fire from. And then I see the corpsman, Doc West, go running out. Doc West got shot 2 or 3 times before he got to the company commander. So now I've got the company commander down, the radio operator down, my scout sergeant's down, and the chief corpsman is down. So I ran out and picked up Captain Gormley and brought him back into a more covered position. He was hit pretty bad, but he was alive. We talked, and he died in my arms. And then I ran out and helped the corpsman back, Doc West. Someone else was going out to help McLean back, my scout sergeant. And then I realized the company commander just died, and the radio was out there. So I ran out, took the radio off the dead operator, strapped and carried it back, strapped it to myself, got on the phone, called the battalion commander, told him what had happened, and that I was assuming command of the company. And he said, "Young man, it sounds like you have a grasp of the situation. Make sure everyone knows you're the skipper." And so I assumed command of that company, started giving direction. It's amazing, at that point I found out that these young Marines who were pinned down and scared, all they wanted was someone to give them direction. And when I started doing things, they got motivation going. So at that point, I launched a counterattack on that trench line to our right, and that was very successful. And then flying above us was also the task force commander. I heard him say that I'll get some Huey gun support in here. Well, I went up on this knoll, and I fired 3-5 rocket launches at the targets, at machine guns, at trench lines. And the Hueys would come in and they'd hit where I hit. Well, then I ran out of 3-5 rocket launches. And so I was talking to the pilots, and I said, "Okay, you fly down the axis of my arm." And I stood up there with my arms out, and I pointed at the targets, and they flew down the axis of my arms to the target. And we took out or knocked down the fire on our right flank, so we could move around more. And then we had the enemy behind us. and we were fighting them off. And we were fighting the enemy on our left flank. And we had about 500 meters of of rice paddies between us and the battalion, which was in the village. And the battalion commander finally got on the hook and he said, Lieutenant, you've got to come on out. We can't come get you. We're in our own firefight in here. Can't come out and get you. It's getting dark. And he says, if you don't fight your way out, you're there by yourself tonight. Well, I knew that was a non-starter. Casualties were mounting rapidly. Ammunition was getting low. And the ceiling was closing in on us. And I didn't think our chances were going to be very good if we stayed there. So I had the engineers blow some trees down to make a landing zone, and I brought in H-34 helicopters to take out the dead and the wounded. Doc West had been shot 5 or 6 times, and he would not let us evacuate him. He was still giving instructions. He was on morphine, but he would not let us evacuate. He was still giving us instructions on how to handle the other cases that were serious. And he was the last one. He would let me put him on the helicopters. We put him on the helicopter. He got shot for the 7th time, but he lived. So I got the dead and the wounded out. And I knew we had to go across that open fire-swept ground. And it's near the end of the operation. People are tired, and they'd had just one hell of a day. So I had the engineers, we collected all the unusable equipment that wasn't working, radios, machine guns, whatever, and blew it up to make ourselves light. And then I had everyone drop their packs in a pile, and we burned them. And so to make ourselves light, and I told everybody, when we start out of here, Marines don't leave anybody on the battlefield. Someone drops, you pick them up and bring them with you. So that's the reason I made you light. Then I was thinking back to the old training, fire team rushes, we're gonna go across, by the book. Well, I started this with the 1st platoon, moving across. Well, we've never got across. They set up a base of fire in the village, and then I got on the phone, I said, are you ready in the village? Ready. And squad by squad, when I said go, they ran. I said, run as fast as you can, don't even stop. The only time you stop is if someone gets shot and you just pick them up. So for the next 45 minutes, we broke out. And we made it across there, brought everybody out. It took us another day and a half to get back. And when I got back, I was relieved of that company, and an infantry officer took over the company. And I stopped in the mess tent to get a cup of coffee. And the battery commander came in and he says, we got the call last night that General Waltz recommended you for the Medal of Honor. I dropped the coffee cup. And I was pretty happy to be alive. Most recipients are presented the Medal of Honor at the White House. The White House under Johnson at that point did not want to present the medal because they figured it was the wrong time politically. And I was presented it at a Marine ceremony at Marine Barracks, 8th and I, Washington, D.C. It was on the 27th of February, 1967. And it was a complete Marine show from the get-go. And Secretary of the Navy, Paul Nitze, put the medal around my neck in the presence of my family and college friends and some of those who fought in Vietnam with me. We came together as a team that day. We overcame about 10-1 odds. It's like on the Monday after Super Bowl Sunday, whose name do you see in the paper? The quarterback. You don't see the lineman's name. So I've worn this for 38 years now. Oh my gosh, 38 years. In honor of those corpsmen and young Marines that I had the opportunity to lead on the field of battle that day. And anytime I put this medal on, I think of them. And any actions that I do or decisions I make it in their name.